Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Kirsten, and I am the host for this webinar today. I am from the Department of Human Services and Child and Family Service Division. This is another offering in our series on parent and community support. The goal for our team is that this will be useful information that you can use and incorporate while parenting during the crisis and more. The series of short workshops is for the parents and the community to provide some tips, strategies, skills, and create connections with the community. This pandemic is tough for all of us, but together we will get through it. This will be short and sweet, about 20 minutes of content, and after that, 10 minutes or more if needed for questions and answers. Please let us know a little bit about yourself right there in the chat. You can indicate what zip code you live in, if you have children, the number of children, and what schools they attend. This will be just for us. We're just trying to reach out and figure out where you guys are and who we're reaching. We will not record or share any of this information. However, this session is recorded. Today's session is on substance use. And if you would like to visit our website, www.apcyf.org, for other sessions that we have done, and we will put that in the chat. And now we will introduce our presenters.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Nyasha John. I am a probation officer and substance abuse counselor for Arlington County Court Services Unit. And I'm here to talk to you guys about talking about substance use with our youth and families. I also have Dr. Mai Kandaichi, who is our juvenile court licensed psychologist with Arlington County Services Unit as well.
Hello, good afternoon.
Just a brief, I just wanted to introduce myself and just to let you know that the purpose of this session is to pretty much dispel some myths and to provide information and tools on how to address substance use with your child. And also information on how to, also information in regards to the court process as it relates to substance use. I just wanted to let everyone know that this is a safe space, and I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end of the session. Okay, so just a brief overview on just the trends in Arlington County. I won't be going into detail about specific drugs or all drugs, just pretty much vaping, marijuana, and alcohol. But just to let you know that according to the statistics, as kids get older, they're using more and more. So as you can see, whereas 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, the use around vaping, marijuana, and alcohol is increasing. Nationally, 5.3 million middle school and high school students vape, and the potency for marijuana these days are considerably higher, and it increases the chances of addiction. The legal age for, also to note that the legal age for smoking tobacco is 21. It's been 21 since July of 2019. It used to be 18, but now it's now 21 years of age. Some reasons why kids use marijuana could be because there's no perception of harm, and that it could be due to lack of education or just lack of awareness around the dangers of marijuana use. There's also been some normalization due to legalization, and because now it's legal in many states, a lot of kids feel that it's okay and it's safe to use because it's now legal. However, you still have to be 21 years of age to use. Some kids also feel that it's not a big deal, and some kids also feel that it helps with their anxiety or other mental health issues, which in fact there's no good data to support that marijuana use is safe, and there's no good data to support that it helps with anxiety, and in fact it could exacerbate some mental health issues as well. Okay, and Dr. Mike Kandaichi, you can take it away.
So as Nyasha was speaking, there are lots of reasons why youth may choose to use and youth may choose not to use. Focusing on why they might not use includes a focus on the long term. Certainly, they can be curious, but they may have the benefit of open and non-judgmental conversations about drug use with their parents, with peers, and with important adults in their lives. They may also have a fear of getting caught, including that their parents may say the loss of privileges or their thoughts on what potential legal consequences. There are a lot of reasons why young people use, including not thinking about legal consequences being applicable to them because they imagine it to be still legal. They don't think about the impact on their body, or if they do think about the impact on their body, it's the joy of getting high and the joy of what it feels like. They also believe the misconceptions that Nyasha has been speaking about before, and that drug use is associated with a lot of peer involvement. And if their peers are also similarly not worried about the consequences or not worried about the long-term consequences, then they're just more inclined to use. And then there's a difference between curiosity and what is valuable is to give thought to how we can foster this open and receptive communication between you as parents with the children and the young people in your life. And it can often feel like we don't know where to start, or that we're so concerned about what it's like for them to use, or we're consumed with worry, and we don't know where to begin ourselves. So we wanted to be able to offer some general cues and caution about how to foster an open conversation. We have a short YouTube commercial that can be clicked onto if you'd like to see it. And Nyasha can run it.
Okay. I think actually we can probably go to the PSA instead.
Sure. So
Okay.
I would like to go through the do's and don'ts, and then we'll go through the PSA just to make
Okay.
sure. So one of the do's is certainly following our young people's lead in their experience and hearing them out. But again, as parents, we may want to respond in anger and tell them that that's wrong, or somehow invalidate what they're trying to say, when all they're trying to do is communicate. Similarly, we want to, as parents, foster an openness ourselves about the conversation direction. And we may have had a preconceived notion about what this conversation is like, and it can be hard to imagine it going any other way. Our challenge is to be open to the direction. We may also overestimate or underestimate our young people's abilities to stay in difficult conversations, or that we may overestimate our young people's ability to handle temptation. Well, they should know this by now, but they may not because they're young, and it's a difficult place. We'd like to, as parents, encourage you to maintain a listening and curious ear, and to just have a self-awareness about maybe our inclination to talk without listening. And at the end of the day, challenge ourselves to accept that we know what we know and that we don't know what we don't know, and maybe communicate that that gap of knowledge with our young people and say, well, maybe we can learn about this.
Okay.
And so the next slide.
Okay. All right.
Did you know that 73% of Arlington students think that marijuana use is harmless? Here are some of the facts from the Surgeon General. Marijuana can impact the development of the brain among adolescents, affecting memory, attention, and motivation. These deficits have been linked to declines in school performance. Most importantly, adolescents frequently using marijuana have doubled the likelihood of misusing opioids. Protect the health of our next generation. For more information or help, contact the Arlington Community Service Board.
And some of the signs and symptoms about substance use listed below. And there is a range of substances that young people can use and a range of symptoms and signs that parents can be alerted to. And these are just general ones at this time. Some of the signs include a change in their peer group, a change in how they tend to their bodies and their clothes. They may start skipping school a little bit more or generally missing classes. And they may also have a loss of interest in the activities that they used to enjoy. They may appear to have some dizziness, blurred speech, glassy eyes. You may notice changes in eating habits as well as a strange odor on their clothes. They may have drug paraphernalia around them. And then again, in terms of their behavior, they may show less motivation in general. To state, though, clearly, a lot of these signs and symptoms overlap with a range of other mental health concerns as well as other types of services. Just kind of in your toolbox to help you feel a little bit more empowered around how to attend to changes in your.
So I will briefly talk about the legal consequences with respect to substance use. A lot of times, depending on the type of substance and the quantity, the offense can be handled in a number of ways. So for first-time offenders, the case can be handled informally, which means that you won't necessarily have to go to court. So if, for example, if a young person were to be charged with simple possession of marijuana, they can be they wouldn't have to necessarily go to court, and the matter can be resolved only if they comply with a certain amount of conditions, which are still, which will be essentially ordered by or recommended by the probation officer. They would still be assigned a probation officer, but they won't necessarily have to go before the court so long as they comply with the conditions. Certain conditions can be a referral to what is known as the Second Chance Program. The Second Chance Program, for example, is an educational program for Arlington middle school and high school students. And it can be a parent can make the referral, the school or probation officer can make the referral as well. So that's an education program that they can be referred to along with some other conditions as well. I'm sorry. So some other consequences, like if kids are charged with substance use charge on school property, it depends again on the quantity and the type of substance. But sometimes it can lead to a felony charge, and again it depends on the nature of the offense. And when that particular incident happens, they can risk suspension. They can also be expelled from school as well. And as some people may know, that having a felony on your record can hinder you from getting, job opportunities and getting into certain colleges and things of that nature. If you have a child that is prescribed medication and for some reason they have to take it during the day, the best thing to do would probably consult with the school nurse, because what you don't want to have happen is if your child is walking around the school with their prescribed medication on them, and if for some reason they, get into trouble, they can be charged with a drug-related offense, even if they are prescribed with the medication. So the best thing to do would be either consult with your physician or psychiatrist, and even the school nurse, to find a way in which you can maybe the school nurse can administer the medication during school hours, but you don't want to have your child walking around the school with medication on them for safety reasons.
What's the big deal, Dad?
Most vapes contain nicotine that can harm the developing brain. They affect attention, learning, memory, and can prime the brain for addiction.
My apologies. Okay. Some other consequences for for getting in trouble with substance use is you can be placed on supervised probation. You have to complete a substance abuse evaluation. You can lose your license for 6 months. That could mean if you already have your license, it can be suspended for 6 months. If you don't already have your license, you won't be able to get your license for that 6-month period because you won't be able because it's suspended. You can also be ordered to do community service, pay court costs, and also you can be subjected to random urine screens as well.
So in addition to talking about legal consequences, either before or during a legal process, it's helpful to know what kind of services can be available that parents can seek or guardians can seek in the services of helping their young people. Within the schools, there are school substance use counselors. They're available within the middle and high school level. And there are ranges of substance use education programs, one of which we've already mentioned, the Second Chance program. And referrals can be made directly by parents and by schools and young people who do not have to for that. There are different kinds of substance abuse treatment that can be available or recommended as a result of an evaluation. Treatment services can be both individual and group, and can be supported by one's insurance, which needs to be having. More elevated levels of treatment include intensive outpatient and residential. Intensive outpatient treatment is regular services including individual and group counseling, parental support. Usually it starts at a frequency of 3 times a week with a gradual decrease. Recognizing that substance use at that level can be much more frequent and difficult to move away from. For young people who are struggling with more profound youth concerns, residential treatment is basically the young person lives at a center. There are ranges of centers, many of which are holistic and include parental components of group therapy. And young people live at sober facilities with regular individual group therapy for a specialized support until they're ready to move forward to whatever level of service.
Okay. And my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to go back and play the previous slide with another PSA.
What's the big deal, Dad?
Most vapes contain nicotine that can harm the developing brain. They affect attention, learning, memory, and can prime the brain for addiction.
Everybody's vaping.
9 out of 10 Arlington teens are not vaping. 7 out of 10 play on sports teams and talk with their parents about serious concerns. Arlington families are using positive connections and choosing a healthy lifestyle over vaping. Contact the Arlington Community Services Board for support and information.
Okay, so to go on to developmental assets and protected factors. These are positive characteristics, qualities, and experiences that can influence a young person's development and reduce the chances of engaging in behavior. Examples can be school, community and parental involvement, self-esteem, positive peers, good physical, emotional, and mental health. And the data shows that when children engage in positive activities, it lessens their probability to engage in negative behaviors. It's very important for families to support the positive qualities that your child possesses and the positive activities that they are engaging in as to foster a positive transition into young adulthood. Okay, so this completes our substance use with youth and families session. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. All right, well, that will wrap up our discussion. And if you have any questions, there will be information